Hello and welcome to the Candlelight Podcast, where I, Mohamed Abdalla, talk about different topics, including some of my favorites, which are movies, martial arts, and philosophy. Guys, this is officially the 10th episode of the Candlelight Podcast. I'm happy to have started this project and put myself out there consistently for the past 2.5 months, is it? Even though it's in a very minimal way. Really glad to be doing this, and I really hope people will benefit from it. And as we Arabs say, عقبال الإمية, which sort of means here's to 100. Alright, let's get to this week's quote. Every man dies. Not every man really lives. A quote uttered by the semi-fictional character of William Wallace, and it comes from the movie Braveheart, my favorite movie of all time. Have I even mentioned that before? Yeah, Braveheart is my favorite movie. And this quote from William Wallace, who is an actual character, historical character, a person, but he's not, completely, how can I say this? He's not accurately portrayed in the movie as who he was back then, because they don't really know who he was exactly. They just knew he was a Scottish rebel who fought against the English. So in the movie, they uttered this quote. William Wallace says, every man dies, not every man really lives. Now, what this quote seems to be saying is that every man lives, every man dies, every man just goes through life and dies, but not every man really lives. And man obviously means person. Not every person really lives up to their full potential. Not every person actually puts themselves out there. And then they just get to the end of their lives and they haven't left their fingerprint onto this world where where other people could benefit. So, this quote really is an important one. It just showcases how, life is to be lived. It's not a situation where you could just cower away and not produce anything of benefit, anything good throughout your life. You have to produce some good, something that inspires other people, something that people will, get some sort of benefit from. I keep repeating that, benefit. I love that word because that's really what this is all about, this podcast at least. So, this is a quote I really need to internalize because this podcast is just as much as a reminder for me as it is for anyone listening to it. I really need to apply this more in my life of, just getting out there and living every day to its fullest in a good way, in a disciplined way, in the right way, in a way that I help others, which in turn is me helping myself because that's what this life is all about. Helping yourself through helping others. And the reason I say I need to internalize it because, well, my track record hasn't been perfect personally. I'm getting a bit personal here, so yeah, take it for what it is. I went through high school in an interesting way. I was in a British curriculum all my life up until the 11th grade, where I took my IGs, which I did average on. But then in the 12th grade, I changed schools to an American curriculum, and I just aced it. I was like top 3 in my class, without cheating, of course. The others might have, cheated somewhat. But for me, no, I stayed clean. I stayed, true. I did not cheat at all during my 12th year and actually did really well. Really, really well. Like, my grade was 96.6%. That's my nisbah. That's my accumulated grade. Overall grade. Whatever it is. So I did really good in high school. I aced it. And then I joined the military. And it was such a different experience from school, obviously. It was a full year. And then on the other side of that, I went to college. I went to, university. But the problem is, from the get-go, since I got to university, I had a completely different, I don't know why, output. I had a completely different output from, high school. In high school, I did really, really well. Really well. And then in university, I went back to just doing average work. For some reason, I had, like, high school was amazing. I did so well. And then for some reason, I don't know what it was. Is it the change in environment? Is it the change in group of friends, I guess? The people that are around you. Is it the change in what I'm studying, what I'm doing? Is it the change in responsibility level? Or I'm not sure. But I didn't do as well in college as I'm not doing as well in college as I did in high school. I really hope to get down to why. I really hope to figure that out. And I really want to see why am I not of the same mindset, of the mindset of crushing everything. Because it is, it is not, I'm not saying this is a problem that is outside of my reach. I'm not sure if it is or isn't. But I realized in myself that I'm just not pushing myself as much as I did in high school. In high school, I had this notion of, you know, aim for the stars and I'll at least touch the sky. You know? Sky's not the limit. Go for the stars. That's what I hoped for, and that is what I achieved. But in university, I kind of hoped for the same thing, but I just found much more difficulty in getting there. And then I just kind of settled, sadly enough, to just average work. And that's what my university life has been like. It went from straight A's, like hundreds in high school, and then now in university, I'm just kind of like a B minus student, which is unfortunate. I really wish to have done better. I really hope to do better. I just really need to get a grip on what's going on and just really push myself back to, regaining, trying to gain my potential, my full potential. Because in high school, I got into martial arts. I, got into fitness. I just did everything everything was so correct. Everything was so right. I went through life doing the right thing all the time, not compromising. But in university, for some reason, it's like my principles kind of had a little bending to them. They were not broken, thankfully, but had some bending to them. Some were far too bent for my liking. But yeah, I gotta really, get better. So anyway, I need to get better, and I am getting better. I'm getting more disciplined in my later years of university, and it's all about really generating momentum that I've found out so far. What I mean by that, generating momentum, is that some days are the down days. You get the blues. You don't feel, you're in a rut. You're not really feeling in the moment. But that's downward momentum. What's the opposite of momentum? The antonym of momentum? I'm not sure, but you get what I'm saying. So downward of momentum, and then I would do something kind of a bit radical and apply the quote I talked about last week, which is mood follows action. So I would do something that kind of changes my mood, something positive. I would either exercise, I would either go out, or I would drink coffee, something that gets me back up and going. And then the next few days will be really good because I started something. I took the first step in kind of bettering my situation. And it just goes as an upward spiral of momentum. And then I just start generating that momentum until, it just keeps getting better and better. And for example, the last few days were amazing. And up until today, I'm doing real well, all things considered. Everything is cool. And I really hope to just keep on this track and stay, consistent in this, mindset of generating momentum, of mood follows action, and this mindset applying this quote of every man dies, not every man really lives. We only get one life. We really have to live it to its fullest, and not in a, that cringy way of back in 2012, I think, where they pronounced that four-letter word, which I'm not gonna say here. You have to live life correctly, honorably, in a way full of integrity, and do what's right up until the moment you die, because you never know. You never know when you're gonna die. At any time, anything can happen. Anything, an injury, a disease, something crippling, death, anything, and even the death of a loved one. Anything can happen at any time. You just have to be ready for it. Get your mindset right. so that you are mentally stable and you can go through this world properly. I really hope this is of benefit, guys. I really hope I'm not just rambling on for no reason. It is benefiting me at least. So, getting into more of stuff that went on this week. Well, Habib, I mean, no, Dana White finally accepted Habib's retirement. He finally accepted the fact that Habib has retired. And he issued a tweet saying, 29, I know it is. And so that's that. He's not going to try and convince Habib to come back anymore. Habib is officially done and retired from the sport of MMA. And that's really hard for him as well, because this is a sport he grew up loving, competing, fighting. That's all he's, that's a lot, that's most of what his life was. But he's a man. He knows that there are more things. He's an adult. He knows there are more things that he can pursue to gain his full potential outside of fighting, because fighting is not all there is. That's clear to him. He has his head screwed on straight, this guy. Allah barak lah. So, yeah, he's finally retired, and now he's going on so many other projects, such as making his own, Eagle Mobile company, where he, provides cellular data and, just, I don't know what it's called. What is it called exactly? Anyway, like his own phone thing where he has his own, grid and everything. I'm not sure what the word for it is. Excuse me for that. But he did that, and he also started his own watch brand, watches, and he also started his own fighting promotion, the Eagle Fighting Championship. This guy is just going all out on projects, and this man is really applying the quote that we've discussed, as well as he could. This man is living. This man is doing. This man is working. So anyway, on to more news in the world of MMA. So Habib finally retired. That means that the lightweight championship is up for grabs. He's finally vacated the title, and now we have to determine a new champion. We'll get to that in a second. I'm just going to discuss, because what the plans for that are kind of far off from now. I'm going to discuss the more immediate plans of the UFC and, share my thoughts on them. So this past weekend, we had Belal Muhammad versus Leon Edwards. The fight that I talked about last week that I was really excited for. Sadly, it was just, man, it was disappointing. Not in the sense that it was boring. No, it was rather what happened. Leon poked Belal Muhammad in his eye twice, ending the fight in the second round due to an injured eye. And Belal injured his eye. He could not continue. But alhamdulillah, it wasn't too injured. He could see out of it after the fight, not during the fight, because it was so injured. And they had to stop the fight for that. They didn't give Leon a disqualification. They made the fight a no contest, which is, considering that Leon has already poked him once and the referee has, issued a warning, I'd assume they would have made it a DQ, but they made it a no contest, so it was really just, anticlimactic. It was sad. I wished for something more, but hey, it is what it is, in the words of Max Holloway. So, other than that, the same card, Dan Ige and one of Habib's teammates got a spectacular knockout. He knocked his opponent out in less than 1 minute. Less than 1 minute in the very first round. That was just amazing. What a way to win. So happy for him. So another thing that kind of happened in this card that was actually kind of like a head scratcher was Eric Anders actually kneed a downed opponent to his head. Kneed Darren Stewart, who I believe was his opponent, to the head while he was downed. So he did the same mistake that Petr Yan did in his title fight against Aljamain Sterling, which is kneeing a downed opponent. So Eric knees Darren in the head while he's down, which is illegal, and they make the fight a no contest. Actually, they don't make it a disqualification, just like they made the title fight, which is weird. There's a lot of head scratching going on this card. Anyway, so this card was, what it was, and let's see what happens in the future. So the card coming after this, which is, this weekend's card, is Brunson versus Holland. Let's see if Kevin Holland really deserves to be in the top 10 of the middleweight division. They'll put him up against this, well, I really would not like to say the word gatekeeper, but that's what his career has turned out to be, where he's just a gatekeeper for the top 5. You have to get through him to get to the top 5, or if you lose to him, you just don't get there. He himself can't make it to the top 5 because he's lost to the best guys there, and he could actually win this fight against Holland to actually get a spot again in the top 5. Fight someone at least in the top 5, because the person who's gonna win this fight between Holland and Brunson is gonna get a shot at the top 5, and maybe hopefully after that a title shot. So that's what's going on this week. And after that, the week after that, we've got UFC 260, which has the heavyweight and featherweight title fights that we're looking forward to. Man, heavyweight, Stipe Miocic versus Francis Ngannou. I've talked about this a lot. The rematch, the second fight, the time for Ngannou to hopefully, get his revenge. Well, revenge. It's not like they hate each other, but just to kind of compensate for his first loss. So that fight is going on, and we'll see who wins. Two really good guys, really great fighters, really great guys, Stipe Miocic and Francis Ngannou. But I really hope Francis wins this one, even though Stipe is the nightmare matchup for Francis. But then again, Francis has those equalizers that he calls hands. He just can knock anybody out, even though he didn't knock Stipe out. Anyway, after that, in the same card rather, the title fight, the featherweight title fight between Alexander Volkanovski versus Brian Ortega. Brian Ortega, who had an amazing comeback against the Korean Zombie, won a clear dominant fight, a dominant performance by Brian Ortega. So he gets to fight the title holder, which is Alexander Volkanovski. So that's, man, these two fights, the heavyweight and featherweight title fights, I'm really looking forward to this because this is history. We're going to see what happens. I'm really excited for this. And right after that, the next week, we got Darren Till versus Marvin Vettori to see who gets to stay in the top 5 of the middleweight division, and perhaps even fight for the title after it. But I don't think Till should fight for the title right after it because he just lost to Robert Whittaker. But again, he lost to Robert Whittaker, one of the greatest middleweights of all time. So, after that, the week after, we've got Whittaker versus Kelvin Gastelum. Speak of the devil, Robert Whittaker, Bobby Knuckles himself. Man, I really like this guy. He's fighting Kelvin Gastelum because, Paulo Costa, who he was originally supposed to fight, pulled out. So he pulled out, and they had to find a replacement fighter. So it became Kelvin, the guy who Bobby Knuckles was supposed to originally fight actually back in 2019. But that didn't happen because Bobby pulled out. So now the fight is finally happening. And I'm really excited to see who gets that one. Man, I really like both guys. I don't want either of them to lose. But we'll see what happens. And then the week after that, we've got Usman versus Masvidal, the rematch. An undeserved rematch for Jorge. Because he just, his last fight was losing to Usman in a dominant way, albeit with no training cap. He didn't train. He fought in 6 days notice, sure. But still, I don't see this fight going, any different than the first one. I think Usman still dominates. He's a bad matchup for Masvidal. But hey, let's see what happens because Masvidal always has a chance to knock Usman out. He's got that puncher's chance, and that's a very real shot. So, it's undeserved because Jorge hasn't bounced back in any way after his recent loss against Usman. But hey, Jorge is leaving soon. He's retiring soon. He's had so many fights, over 40 fights, I think, in the UFC, in MMA, and let him just get his money fights and leave and retire. He's at the tail end of his career. I respect that. Let him do what he wants, honestly. And I'll be enjoying this fight, even though it's completely undeserved. I'll be enjoying it. Now, back to the lightweight division. Khabib has retired. So, who gets to fight for the lightweight title? Is it going to be Dustin Poirier, who's been trailblazing and destroying everyone he's faced, beating and destroying everyone he's faced, other than Khabib? Is he going to fight for the title? Is Poirier going to fight for the title? Nope. He's going back to fight Conor in a rubber match, a trilogy fight, where each have knocked each other out, and now they want to see who wins the third one, so the third one could possibly fight for the title. Man, this is a weird one because Conor does not deserve to fight Poirier again. Poirier just outclassed him the first time. Just beat him, knocked him out. But, Dana, he'll just do whatever for Conor to fight the top fighters and, possibly get the title. But now that Khabib's gone, that he has a chance. So let's see what happens. With regard to who's fighting for the title, actually, it's not going to be Conor or Poirier. They're going to fight each other for the rubber match. The people who are going to fight for the title one of them is very deserving to fight for the title. He deserves it. The other one, not so much. So, the person who deserves it is obviously Charles Oliveira. None other than Charlie Ollie Vera. So, he has an 8-fight win streak now? A 7 or 8-fight win streak where he's finished all his opponents, and he almost finished Tony Ferguson in his last fight. Almost. But Tony's just that tough dude. He's just not going to tap. He's not going to quit. But he dominated him still. Charles dominated Tony. And now he got a title shot against, I guess, Michael Chandler, who doesn't deserve it. I mean, he just has one win in the top 7 of the lightweight division. How is it that he gets a shot after knocking out someone in the top 7? Like, none of that in itself is good, but the thing is, that's his only fight in the UFC. He hasn't proved himself. He just kind of came in, knocked one guy out, and now he's getting a title shot. Dude, at least stick him against Justin Gaethje, and whoever wins between them, give that guy a title shot. That makes more sense than giving him an immediate title shot now. I don't know. It's ridiculous. I don't know why a guy who had to fight 8 guys in order to get to where he is on the same level as a guy who just beat one dude. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. But hey, that's UFC matchmaking for you. It doesn't have to make sense. It's just, whatever Dana's whims and desires and wishes are. So that's what's going on in the UFC. That's what's, what's happening there. And I'm really excited to see how it all turns out. Because, man, 2021 has been an amazing year of fights so far. And it's shaping up to be, to have even more great fights. I really am looking forward to it. And my favorite sport, and I'm really, really I can't wait to see what happens. I just laughed because I remembered something funny at the family gathering yesterday. So anyway, that's it for that. And really, I guess this week, what else has happened this week? What else has happened? Trying to think of something. Did I watch any documentaries? Oh, not really. I didn't watch any documentaries, but I did start rewatching the TV show Suits on Netflix. I just restarted watching it because I remember I watched it twice already, not the full show, just like the first few seasons, because those are the good seasons. After that, the writing just kind of wanes off. It's not as good, but the first 2 seasons specifically are amazing, especially the first, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm still in the first season. I'm really still enjoying what's the events that are taking place and how well and smart the writing is. Man, I watched it twice already, but I really would like to watch it a third time, which is what I'm doing right now. And I should really be careful not to watch too much of it, because I have so many projects and so much work to do in these next few weeks for university. I really don't want to, um, misallocate my time and spend too much time watching, enjoying myself and leisure and not working. I have to really do as much as I can to finish off what I have to do for uni. And it goes back to the quote at the beginning. I have to apply myself. I have to, do what I know I have to do, the right thing to do, which is to work hard, do what I need to do, So I just have to make sure that I schedule myself. I plan the time, schedule my time. I make a plan on when I'm working, when I'm not, and that way I can have the best of both worlds. I can just enjoy myself, which is what you're supposed to do. A schedule is the greatest thing ever. It helps you know that you'll be working at this time and you'll be enjoying yourself at this time right after. So it makes the work worth it. So yeah, scheduling is really important. It's really good. It's not a prison. It's not something that it's locking you in and making you work. No, you have to work. You always have to work. With or without the schedule. So just make the schedule to actually clear your mind and actually have some structure, have some discipline. And that's exactly what I'm doing. And it's really working out real well. I'm getting my work done. I'm getting through a lot of things. I'm actually really enjoying myself as well, knowing when to enjoy, quality time with the family, quality time with friends, quality time with myself, just enjoying, maybe gaming, maybe listening to a podcast, maybe exercising, whatever it is. I'm just really making sure that I'm on it. I'm just locked in, doing the right thing that I know I have to do. So that's what I'm doing. That's what's up. I just really need to make sure I finish my work because it's, deadlines are coming up. And I really need to make sure that I finish my work before Ramadan, especially because Ramadan is going to be, somewhat hard to work in because you're fasting all day. And for me, it's not too much of a difference, but I am more creative when I have, my blood sugars are good, which is when I'm eating. So when I'm not eating, my blood sugars are low. I'm not as creative or as, I can work. I can definitely work. If you want me to do something like, weirdly enough, something like manual labor, I could do that. I can exercise. I can do whatever. I just, for some reason, cannot tune into my creative thinking, which is something that's very important to me because that's my whole thing. I'm a multimedia, designer. That's what I do. So that's what I'm trying to avoid. I want to avoid having to work into Ramadan. I just really want to finish all the heavy lifting beforehand so that I could just relax in Ramadan somewhat because there's still going to be work, but I can, lighten the load. I'm doing good. So that's what I'm doing to that's what I'm doing so far, to apply the code that I mentioned to you guys. I really want to implement the code properly and live my life out to the fullest, do what I need to do. How much did I repeat that? Do what I need to do. It's getting annoying, to me at least. I hope it's not annoying you guys too much. So anyway, we're approaching the 30-minute mark, and I just gotta wrap this thing up right now because I don't want to go on too long. You guys have other things to do. I have other things to do. And guys, this was the Candlelight Podcast by yours truly, Mohamed Abdalla. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you come back for more. This was the 10th episode of the Candlelight Podcast, and once again, every man dies, not every man really lives. See you guys in the next one. Peace.